Coming up, a toddler is in stable condition after nearly drowning at an area lake. The NDSU Athletic Director weighs in on the plan to sell beer at Bison home games. And bad news for North Dakota and Minnesota when it comes to early education. Hello and welcome to the Nightly Review. I'm Tom Tucker. We begin with a look at tonight's headlines, then a one-on-one conversation with Minnesota Republican gubernatorial candidate Dr. Scott Jensen. This afternoon, he unveiled a 10-point proposal aimed at supporting farmers and reinvigorating the rural economy. Jensen will talk about his plan and why he thinks it's the right approach for the state of Minnesota. But first, tonight, the man shot and killed by law enforcement officers Monday in Mapleton is now identified as Andrew James Martinez. Sheriff Jesse Johnner says 4 officers fired at the man after he walked out of the home carrying a firearm. The man came out of the home after an hours-long standoff, which began around 10:30 in the morning after a report of shots fired in the 500 block of 5th Street North. People living in the area were directed to shelter in place. The 4 Fargo police officers who shot the man are all on paid leave while the shooting is investigated by the Bureau of Criminal Investigation. A pickup driver has died from his injuries after a crash on I-94. Authorities say 71-year-old Reed Satram crashed into the back of a tractor-trailer Friday. His vehicle caught fire, and Satram and his passenger were hospitalized. Satram died from his injuries on Monday. His 53-year-old passenger remains hospitalized with serious injuries. A toddler is in stable condition after a near drowning at a lake in Otter Tail County. Authorities say the 2-year-old boy was found face down in the water in Sand Lake Sunday morning. A visitor who is also a firefighter started CPR while 911 was called. The boy was taken to the hospital and again is in stable condition tonight. Well, the newest teachers hired at Fargo Public Schools are set to be given the red carpet treatment Wednesday morning. The district, which is hosting new teacher orientation at their offices off 7th Street South, will literally roll out a red carpet for the new hires. We're told district administrators and staff will be clapping and cheering as the new teachers arrive. A previous group of new teachers was also greeted the same way on July 13th. NDSU's Athletic Director Matt Larson welcomes the move to allow beer sales at the Fargo Dome for Bison football games this fall.
Our goal from day one as we kind of embarked upon this conversation was it's a great amenity to add to our fan base, but if we're going to do it, we have to do it right. From a customer service standpoint, from a safety and security standpoint, we just need to do it well. So first and foremost, really happy about the plan that we have in place and feel good about that as we head into the season.
Larson told the Coffee Club on WDAY that details are being worked out for selling beer during games. The change is likely to begin just in time for September 3rd's home opener against Drake University. A new grant will boost access to high-speed internet service in western North Dakota. Parcel-based reservation telephone cooperative is receiving an $18.5 million federal grant as part of an effort to improve high-speed access in 11 states. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Rural Development Agency is providing the funding. We're told more money will be released later this summer. North Dakota and Minnesota are at the bottom of the list when it comes to early education. Personal finance website Wallet Hub has ranked the best and worst states for early education systems. The study took into account 12 key metrics, including state pre-K programs, quality benchmarks, and total reported spending per child in enrolled pre-K. North Dakota finished second worst in the study, while Minnesota finished 4th worst. The best state for early education, the survey found, was Arkansas. The worst is Indiana. Higher attendance means more revenue for the North Dakota State Fair. Fair officials say attendance was up nearly 3,600 visitors this year. Over the 9 days in Minot, the State Fair attendance was 314,271. The record was set in 2013 with more than 320,000 people. The 2023 fair is set for July 21st through the 29th. Deer hunting licenses are now available to Minnesotans. Hunters can find the latest information on this year's deer hunting season and regulations at the website for the Department of Natural Resources. This year, the agency is introducing their chronic wasting disease sampling program to allow hunters to help with disease surveillance. And during a time of employee and teacher shortages, one school district in South Dakota is bucking the trend. More than 200 new teachers are starting with the Sioux Falls School District this fall. The district HR director says 220 new teachers had been hired as of yesterday. Most teachers hired are filling vacant positions rather than newly created jobs. 14 positions remain unfilled. Well, if you haven't done so already, please take a moment to subscribe and hit the bell button below to show your support for the Nightly Review. I hope you find the report is a better way to stay informed for all the important news and events happening in the FM Metro. We appreciate your support. Weather-wise tonight, we're looking for more high temperatures in the 90s as the week goes on. Let's get the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center, where meteorologist Justin Storm is hard at work.
Thanks, Tom. As we head through the remainder of this evening, partly cloudy to partly sunny conditions are going to continue with wind out of the south 10 to 20 miles per hour. There will be a slight chance for a couple scattered light showers, even an isolated storm, but that will all push out of the area tonight, revealing mostly clear conditions. Temperatures will drop down into the mid and upper 60s. For your Wednesday, mostly sunny skies return. The humidity drops down and temperatures do as well. We'll have a north-northwest wind around 10 to 20 miles per hour with temperatures in the 70s, but the heat will start to build back in. We'll be in the upper 80s on Thursday, mostly sunny with a south wind gusting as high as 35 miles per hour.
It could happen to you or someone you love. One moment, one diagnosis can change everything. Thankfully, there's a program that helps caring people uplift families through a crisis. Lend a Hand Up, raising financial help and hope through community benefits and online campaigns. A program that boosts generosity so gifts go further. Lend a Hand Up helps you help your neighbors. Learn more and give at lendahandup.org.
Welcome back to the Nightly Review. This afternoon, the Republican candidate for governor in Minnesota, Dr. Scott Jensen, unveiled his plan to support farmers and the rural economy. Jensen calls it the 10-point Greater Minnesota Prosperity Plan, which he talked about during an appearance at Farm Fest in Morgan, Minnesota. I spoke with Dr. Jensen before his appearance and first asked how he would assess the overall state of the farming community based on his conversations while on the campaign trail.
Honestly, Tom, I think that the agriculture people, the agribusiness farmers, I believe they feel that they're getting the short end of the stick over and over again. It doesn't matter if you're talking about, is there any support for them to help keep family farms in the family, connectivity with broadband, the tax structure, the special tax on fertilizer. I don't think they feel appreciated. I think a lot of folks don't realize that 30% of Minnesota's economy and more is agribusiness. And I think that, honestly, Governor Walz could do himself a big favor if he would just come out and apologize and say, listen, I should never have called you a bunch of rocks and cows. It's disrespectful. I think that agribusiness is a huge part of Minnesota's future, and we all need to pull the rope together.
Jensen said providing tax relief for farmers is a big part of his 10-point plan.
Well, big pieces right off the bat would be taxes. I mean, the farmers are getting hit every which way. First off, on estate taxes. If you look at how they compare to other states, they're at a significant disadvantage. Our estate taxes frequently cause the family farm to be fractured. Who's buying up the farms right now? Seems like the Chinese are. Is this really the direction we want to go? So I think that way. There's a special tax on fertilizer. And when it comes to school districts having referenda, oftentimes, if you will, the farmers are paying a disproportionate amount of those taxes. So taxes is a big issue.
Jensen said there appears to be an emerging anti-farming sentiment based on policies and actions currently directed at farmers here in the United States and around the world.
I think you're exactly right. I think the whole idea of obstructing when what they should be doing, government should be supporting producers. The Midwest arguably is the breadbasket of the world. And we're sitting there treating them like they've got to be overmanaged, micromanaged all the time. The best stewards of the land in the world of agriculture are the people who live here. Farmers have been doing forward-thinking actions for decades. If you look at even biofuels, it was farmers that, when asked by the government to help partner, they stepped up to the plate and made it happen. When it comes to animal disease prevention, the farming community, along with veterinarians, my wife's a veterinarian, they stepped forward. Over and over again, we've seen the agribusiness try to do the right thing, try to expand the marketplace. and they've got no help. Look at the workforce shortage. Farmers with the H-2A program definitely need support in that regard, but they're not getting it. And there are things that the state government could be doing. And then we look at energy, and if you look at the key ingredients for a farmer as he or she looks at the expenses and the income, energy is a huge cost. And when you hook us to the California car mandate, you are basically telling farmers, we don't really care what you think. We're going to go ahead and push towards electric vehicles, even though we know it's not going to work for the tractors in the field. We know it's not going to work to eliminate combustion engine lawnmowers and various gardening equipment. And yet it isn't stopping. Right now, Governor Walz has hooked us to the California car mandate, and he might think that he gets to tailor his own plan. But if you look at the letter of the law, we don't get to. That means that we have to abide by whatever rules California puts forward. That means that in 2025, 35% of our vehicles have to be electric vehicles. That's just in 2 years. We have less than 2% electric vehicles in Minnesota right now, and we got to somehow get to 35% in 2 years. This is theatrical political pandering. This has nothing to do with reality. And farmers understand that on the best of days, wind and solar can't get to providing 10% of what the grid needs. Farmers are looking at this with common sense and responsible behavior, and the politicians are absolutely abandoning them. And if my life and my income were dependent on agribusiness right now, Tom, I would be absolutely furious with the political class.
I'd like to thank Minnesota Republican gubernatorial candidate Dr. Scott Jensen for joining me for tonight's one-on-one conversation. You can hear the entire interview and learn more about his 10-point plan for supporting farmers and rural areas by checking out the story online at WDAYradionow.com. Now, to provide equal time, I've reached out with an interview request to the re-election campaign for Governor Tim Walz. I have not yet received a response. Well, that will do it for this Tuesday night, August 2nd, 2022. I'm Tom Tucker. Thanks for watching the Nightly Review.